Once a year, on a Saturday before Easter, Mama had her hair straightened with a hot metal comb heated over an open flame by Daddy's cousin Brownie. She was called Brownie because of her reddish-brown complexion, and we kids dropped the S in the word cousin to call our family beautician Cousin Brownie. Even when her hair was straightened, Mama still braided one side tighter than the other, giving it a lopsided appearance. Even worse were all the other weeks of the year when we didn't get the kinks and tangles oiled and pulled through that smoking hot iron comb to straighten it to twice its previous coiled length. During those other 51 weeks of the year, our hair was relentlessly puffed up and frizzy around the edges of our hairline, the ancestral European genes powerless against the dominant genes of our African ancestors. So vexing was the new growth of undulating hair, it evolved into its own one-word insult, edges. The only derogatory reference worse than edges referred to the similarly unruly curls of hair at the nape of the neck, called the kitchen. Every female in church on Sunday, and Lamont, the junior choir director, could relate to the popular saying regarding hair. Along the edges and in the kitchen of their hairlines, fried, dyed, and laid to the side. Mama's soft brown curls bore the DNA of her anonymous Caucasian progenitors. Consequently, she had no experience with nor the dexterity to part, tug, and smooth our resistant hair into neatly woven braids. As in so many other aspects of our young lives, my mother enabled us to be resourceful and self-sufficient, learning to groom our own and each other's hair very early in childhood. However, in honor of Jesus rising on the third day, we rose early on the Saturday before Easter to get our hair done. Cousin Brownie lived on Jefferson Avenue near Market Street. Her house abutted the busy sidewalk and had no front yard. The front door sat back under a tall arch of red brick at the top of the 4 steep steps. The bottom half of the door was painted wood panels so passerby could not look inside. The top portion had an edged frosted glass window. If you squinted, you could see through the etched design down the narrow hall clear to the back door. We arrived early, 5 sisters with our hair washed the night before, parted and braided into 6 woolly sections. The door was unlocked, and we entered yelling down the hall, "We're here, Cousin Brownie." She yelled, "Come on back, Vern, I'm ready to take you first." And so our long day of waiting began us as she fed us in order of age. Between customers who paid the $5 price to have their hair pressed and curled in the kitchen salon. Because we were family, we spent only $1 each to get our hair done. Saturdays at Cousin Brownie's were always adventures. My sister Beverly, sulking, stared out of the window onto Jefferson while waiting her turn. Tootie and Jean chattered and giggled as they leafed through the captioned pictures of black celebrities in Ebony and Jet magazines. I was all ears while the women rotating in and out of Cousin Brownie's kitchen talked about everything and everybody in the neighborhood. If we were still there into the afternoon, we would buy a 50-cent box of pork and rice from the Chinese takeout spot across the street and share it while sitting on the back steps. But if we were lucky, we got to hear Cousin Brownie pray. Many of the full-price customers were members of her church and called her Sister Wooden. After their curls and waves were made to shine like patent leather, and before they handed over a $5 bill, Cousin Brownie laid hands on their shoulders, necks, arms, or legs with a vice-like grip, and began a loud, forceful beseeching of God to heal whatever ailed or troubled them. With her head thrown back, she ended the spellbinding prayer with deep, guttural sounds from her throat that seemed to cough any pain, stiffness, or sorrow right out of the sufferers' jerking bodies. My newly strained hair aside, the extraordinary visions of exorcism were worth every hour I spent waiting.